We're introduced to an ugly, disgusting boy named Ibiki who is falling down from the sky like a capturing celebrity. A lady reveals him, but sees two wolves trying to take him. As she scares the wolves off, she attempts to wake his ugly face up and efficaciously does so. Earlier, an angel instructed him that he has lost his memories and that a female would act as his manual, who is Kokoro. They start tenting within the woods for the night time. Suddenly, the two wolves appear again, giving Kokoro a hazard to guide Iwuki through the fight. However, his weak ass fails the combat and Kokoro has to save his lame bum from the wolves. Meanwhile, an orange-haired girl is cleansing herself in a lake. She is enjoying herself while all at once she hears the cries of a person requesting assist. The female runs to assist them and finds that the man has an ailment. The different guy asks the girl to bring him his medication from his bag. She returns with the medication, but the two guys look like thieves and thieve her sword, and he or she attempts to trap them. Kokoro and Iwuki go to the marketplace, where an Inuuki teaches him about this international and the various things in it. They meet a lady running a creep keep. She calls each of them siblings, however Kokoro corrects her. Kokoro offers him a few cash to shop for food. However, Yuki does not recognize the money and tries to consume it, which makes Kokoro fear. She tells him about the money and its significance. After ingesting ice cream, they decide to go shopping. However, they run out of cash and do not discover a correct vicinity to live. They decide to stay within the woods for the nighttime. Suddenly, the idiot of a Yuki is over again attacked by the two wolves. However, Kokoro saves him and apologizes to him for the hassle. Kokoro decides to begin running to earn a few money. They meet Karen, a member of the guild affiliation, who tells them that forming a guild will provide them with an area to live and consents to offer her a component time task. They see different quests, but locate them very tough and perilous. Iwuki and Kokoro take on their first project and visit accumulate mushrooms. Kokoro courses Iwuki about the places where they could spot mushrooms. Kokoro finds a tiny brown thick mushroom and consists of it round. The naive orange-haired woman nonetheless attempts to carry the medication to the guys, no longer knowing that she were given bamboozled. Her stomach growls due to the fact she has no longer eaten whatever, but she abruptly sees the two thieves gambling with her sword. She calls them, but after seeing her, they begin going for walks away. They cover within the bushes, but are abruptly attacked by a few crows and get injured. Yuki and Kikoro meet the orange-haired girl who is lying at the ground. Kikoro makes food for her, and she feels very glad. She thanks them for serving her rice because it boosts her power. They introduce themselves to the girl, however she does no longer screen her proper name. Suddenly, a female wearing black watches them from afar and secretly charges massive mushrooms at them. As they warfare the shrooms, Pecorine demonstrates her excellent strength, but one of the mushrooms snatches Kokoro. Yuki sees this and unleashes his hidden powers that boosts his buddies to the identical stage as Nina Octel. After the fight, Yuki and Kokoro acquire the mushroom corpses for his or her quest. A small one attempts to ambush the boy, however Pecorine catches it, and as opposed to licking, bites it. However, she has an awful response to it and faints. In the meantime, there is a female in a black get-dressed, named Carol, who's moaning to some random cats about her inability to make friendships. Kokoro wakes up the next morning and finds Yuki's schooling difficult as he wants to be a higher warrior. While training, Yuki hurts himself often, which makes Kokoro concerned. Yuki joins her on the breakfast desk after completing his exercise. They get true compensation for the mushroom contest. Tekoro stalks her concerns for Pecorine, who's going to land us all. While ingesting breakfast, they meet a waiter who hears their conversation about creating wealth and advises them to begin a guild. Koro unearths it a good concept. The owner of the restaurant scolds the waiter for giving funny ideas to clients. Meanwhile, Pecorine wakes up, finding herself on a horse farm. She again starts her task to find her father's sword, however feels high. Suddenly, the two thieves, Akechi and Charlie, cover someplace to store themselves from the crows who attacked them within the woods. Akachi advises Charlie that they must dispose of the sword because it proves to be unfortunate. But Charlie is unwilling to throw the sword as they are able to both play with it at night time. Ibuki and Koro visit a eating place in which an ingesting contest is being held. They find Pecorine as a contestant. She out-eats the competition and is crowned the winner. The two thieves additionally arrive at the restaurant. However, after finding Pecorine, they run to keep themselves. Pecorine observe them but lose sight of them when they're attacked through any other monster, who is dispatched by means of Carol. Pecorine fights again and defeats it with her crown energy. She tells Iwuki and Kokoro about her sword. Suddenly, they pay attention a few noise and discover Carol collapsed at the ground. Pecorine wakes her up, introducing absolutely everyone to her. She gets aggravated when Pecorine tries to feed her hot rice. She makes her way back to her location, even as speaking to herself, approximately failing her plan. Later, she is sitting on a tree. Thinking approximately Pecorine, whilst she hears guys talking, she realizes that they're the thieves who stole Pecorine's sword. Suddenly, a huge dragon prices at them, which takes the two guys in conjunction with it. Corrine and the pair arrive in the town to search for the thieves, and all of a sudden they meet Carol there. Karin gets loopy after finding out that the black get-dressed girl's call is Carol, as it's the name of her preferred corn superstar. I suggest you're not incorrect, however you didn't have to say it. She offers to assist them due to the fact they have been first class to her while she collapsed. Pecorin tells her approximately the thieves and their appearance. Carol tells them that the one's guys were carried through the dragon, which reminds Kikoro approximately the guild quests for capturing the dragon. She takes them to the dragon's nest, wherein the two guys are captured. Carol hides herself in a safe place and asks the alternative three to move close to the dragon to take their sword. However, the dragon is hiding the sword in its mouth, and Iruki has a plan. He waves a material in the front of the dragon to get his mouth open. However, the dragon captures him in its mouth, allowing Pecorine to climb at the dragon's face. Carol gets happy due to the fact she plans to permit the dragon kill the three of them. Just as Kokoro was approximately to attack, Carol uses her magic to make it go sicko mode. As the dragon flies into the sky, it includes Iwuki, Pecorine, and the two robbers at the side of it. Porine manages to land a blow at the dragon's big fat nostril, making it plummet to the earth and towards Carol. Carol's manipulate spell breaks and the dragon turns on her as properly. But Pecorine intervenes along with her restored blade, and with a speedy strike, she finishes the dragon. The thieves make an apology to Pecorine for snatching her sword and thank her for saving them. Kikoro is involved for Yuki, but he is also Pecorine thank you Carol for displaying them the manner to the dragon, which embarrasses Carol because she planned to kill them. Pecorine invites Carol for dinner, which she accepts after a touch hesitation. They consume rice while speaking and experience very good. Pecorine indicates the idea of beginning a guild collectively in which they could discover delicious meals. Kokoro and Iwuki take delivery of the concept. However, Carol does not want to come to be part of the guild and walks out. She reaches her domestic and finds her three cats gambling collectively. She eats the rice and unearths its scrumptious. However, she does now not take delivery of it due to her hatred for Pecorine. The following day, Carol is considering Pecorine's preventing abilities and thinks that Pecorine is probably cheating. She plans to stalk her in the hopes of finding her weakness. Meanwhile, Pecorine wakes up at a farm with a hungry belly due to the fact she's definitely a pig that needs to be fed sausages. What do you suggest by way of that? She goes to the restaurant and fills her hungry animal's stomach with 10 bowls of rice outside. She meets the two thieves who thank her for saving them from the dragon. And those loopy sons of guns take her to any other eating place to deal with her to even more meals. Damn, I actually marvel how plenty suits in her mouth. In the meantime, Yukai is sitting close to a tree when he sees a lady named Noriko disintegrate at the ground. He gives her some rice, wondering she is probably hungry. However, she is amazed through his kind conduct. Yuki and Kokoro find Carol peeking into the eating place where Pecorine is stuffing her mouth with sauce. As they ask her why, she gets irritated and lies to them. They offer her to devour with them, and she reluctantly accepts it. As Pecorine attempts to provide Carol meals, she turns into especially rude and acts like a big disgusting piece of cake. She desires to order the fish and chips, however the proprietor is out of ingredients due to the fact the fatso of a Pecorine already positioned them in her mouth and swallow the big brown crispy fish. Corrine recommends the secret dish. However, the meals contains insects, surprising Carol due to the fact she finds it as disgusting as Pecorine's obsession with pudding and swallowing food. The other three consume them happily. Corrine passionately shoves her spoon into her mouth, and he or she ends up loving the meals after attempting. Corrine recommends the caterpillar, but Carol says she would not need to devour something so massive and meaty. As they end the meals, Kokoro presents a guild software and asks both of them to sign up for the guild. Corrine is happy, but Carol isn't inclined to join the group and walks out like a cold-hearted loser. Carol is irritated at herself for liking them due to the fact her task is to take away Pecorine and now not to grow to be her pal. She reveals a tree complete of end result close by and begins eating them. She is approached by way of an abnormal woman dressed in black. However, she scolds her for pronouncing that they are the same. Pecorine got an offer for element time activity on the restaurant. After hearing this, Kokoro hides the software paper. During her shift, 3 little girls arrive on the eating place, and Pecorine serves them meals. They want to shape a guild, however, due to their age, Pecorine compliments their friendship and gives them some meal suggestions. It is discovered that Carol works for a person else who supplied her with the strength of the Princess Knights. Her chief calls of the assassination due to a alternate in instances and tells her she can display her the route to observe. She enters the eating place and announces her willingness to sign up for the guild. But all of a sudden, an extraordinary giant fatso enters the restaurant, breaking the entirety and requesting food. I see Nikado Avocado has received a few more weight. The proprietor of the restaurant, who is meant to be some wannabe Andrew Tate, threatens him. However, he receives his cheek slapped with the aid of the fatso. Nikado Avocado 1, Andrew Tate 0. He threatens to shut down the shop if she would not make him a brilliant meal. Puring turns into Andrea Tate and accepts the conflict. She begins cooking extraordinary bugs for him, and anybody appreciates her cooking abilities. She discovered to cook dinner one-of-a-kind bugs and monsters on her journey. She serves the food to the unpleasant fatso, but Carol provides a few magic humorous juice to it, making the food even higher. He takes a chew, but finally ends up devouring the whole meal inside a count of seconds. The guy even starts overvolved hearing the meals talking to him, but throws the ultimate food away, calling it tasteless. Pecorine will become irritated and throws his lame fat ass out of the restaurant. And every person appreciates Pecorine for her bravery. As the entirety gets settled down, Carol selections up the guild's software from the ground, pronouncing her aim to sign up for the guild, which surprises everybody. They take the utility to the guild, in which they name it the Gourmet Guild, to be able to satisfy Pecorine's need for massive, tasty, meaty matters. As they input their new house, they find its far and horrible situation, as it has been deserted for several years. They call the guild member to whinge about the house's situation. However, Carol becomes scared after listening to that ghosts stay there. However, Pecorine gets very excited as she wants to have a few fun at night with them. Their venture to clean the residence starts a fevolved. Carol begins with dusting, and Koro starts a favolve washing the bedsheets and curtains, while Yuki and Pecorine take the furnishings out of the house. Pecorine is disappointed after locating the eating table is missing. It is a necessary object for her as she wants to revel in a place in which she can put things in her mouth along with her pals. However, she is going into the woods with an axe to make a brand new desk. Kikoro goes to the market to shop for things for the new house and hands over the cleaning duty to Carol. She arrives on the market and reveals a shop for plates and pans. She buys new dishes and cups when the shopkeeper offers her a discount. Suddenly, a female named Suzium arrives, who works as Lady Sarn's maid. Saren orders Suzium to help Koro deliver her matters to her residence within the cart. On the manor home, Kokoro wishes her bond with Yuki was like Suzium's is with Saren. They lose their manor inside the woods and get nervous when it turns darkish at noon. Suddenly, the donkey breaks the cart and runs into the woods. Suzium and Kokoro plan to seize him, however they by accident capture any other animal who talks and calls herself Rima. She gives them to tug their cart as their donkey ran away. Meanwhile, Carol is cleansing the residence and Yuki facilitates with cleansing the home windows. However, he falls down from his chair and loses recognition. In his dream, he meets Ameth, who asks him about the guild he started out. She tells him that each 3 women have their missions and problems. However, Carol is within the maximum tough function. She warns him to be careful, as the enemy is aware of his existence. She disappears and Yuki wakes up outdoor. Yuki and Carol compliment Pecorine for making one of these lovely desks. But sadly, the desk is too massive and thick to match through the hollow of the door, so Pecorine is forced to reduce the sides of the table to reduce its width. As Rime is taking Suzium and Koro to their house, they're attacked through 3 bandits, scaring them. They assault Rima because they want to take her for themselves. However, she exhibits her proper character and beats the 3 bandits, surprising the 2 ladies. Rima eats an apple, and it turns her body into a lady, which shocks Kokoro and Suzy. Is this supposed to be the real-life depiction of a Harry? Meanwhile, Yuki, Carol, and Pecorine have wiped clean the complete residence. However, they may be now concerned for Kokoro, who seems behind them with the objects she offered from the marketplace. She appreciates anyone's efforts and units up the decorations within the residence. Pecorine chefs scrumptious meals for everybody to have fun, the crowning glory of their first project. They enjoy their meals and thank Pecorine for cooking. The next day, Yukuki has a terrible bloodless, and the ladies do their high quality to cure him. Kokoro locations a chili cloth on his head, and Pecorine makes different ingredients for him, which are as hot as she is, within the hopes that he'll experience higher. Carol tells him to act like a man. Yuki's situation is getting worse as time passes. Kokoro attempts to make an ancient remedy which she used to make inside the village. She adds bugs to it, which discusses Carol. Carol tries to tell them that including bugs to the whole lot will no longer assist them, so that they ought to avoid it. She decides to take Yuki to a real health center. They area him on a cart, and with the help of a map they are attempting to locate it. At the clinic they meet a lady on the reception who takes Yuki to the examination room, in which Dr. Mitsuki checks him. She quick calls the receptionist to prepare for surgery, unexpected the girls. As he's taken to the operating room, they meet a skinny guy who is attempting to get away. It is the ugly fatso from the eating place, who tells them that this isn't a health facility, however a prison. If this is proper, we have to genuinely place Nikado Avocado right here. However, one of the demon girls comes lower back sporting the injured fatso, which scares the girls. The female named Yuriko is later approached with the aid of a fortune teller, who has a skeleton father who tells fortunes. She does not like this at first, but after hearing approximately soulmates, she realizes that the fortune teller is official. On her way returned to the clinic, Eriko beats many thieves and takes all of their cash. It is discovered that she is seeking out Yuki due to the fact, when he provided her meals, she fell in love with him. As good fortune could have it, she unearths him within the medical institution room, and her strange behavior horrifies Yuki. She tries to feed him rice, to which she provides her secret slimy, juicy fluids. If you recognize what I suggest, unaware of this, the ladies awaken within the Gourmet Guild, thinking about Yuki. They determine to go to the medical institution after breakfast. However, they see a set of fellows protesting outdoor the health facility, and the doctor who became treating Yuki's status on the door listening to their needs. They are here for Eriko, who took all in their money, which they pretty stole from humans. Eriko arrives at the gate and suggests her magical powers, revealing her as the destroyer. The three beat all of us and kick some buns. Everyone cries for assist and begs for remedy. After witnessing this, Kokoro, Carol, and Pekorin plan to rescue Yuki from the devilish clinic. As Mitsuki is treating the brand new patients, the three women secretly input the sanatorium. They find Eriko in Yuki's room, imparting him with a cursed engagement ring. Just as she is set to present him the hoop, the room fills with red smoke. As Eriko leaves the room to test the smoke, the girls take Yuki with them. However, they're approximately to be stuck by using Mitsuki and Eriko. Carol makes a 600 IQ pass and acts as a patient to divert Mitsuki and Erika's attention in the direction of her. Meanwhile, Pekorin throws Yuki out the window and Mitsuki attempts to treat Carol with her new drug called Help. Kikoro and Pekorin take Yuki to any other medical institution, in which they discover that he has a everyday bloodless and will get better with a few relaxation. In the morning, Carol finally comes back domestic, and Pekorin prepares breakfast for everybody. At the table, Pekorin officially announces their first actual guild quest. The farmers from Targum village want a few extra arms for harvesting spices. Carol refuses, announcing that she would not need to peer Pekorin consume and swallow purple spicy matters. I let you know what although oldsters, this is bloody satisfactory. However, Pekorin uses her puppy eyes, forcing Carol to sign up for them. At the village there's a person who is gathering sticks, however he all at once receives attacked by way of an actual reproduction of himself. On their way to the village, the institution sets up camp. Iki is getting ready a campfire, and Carol is trying to seize a few fishes. After no success, Kokoro decides to make soup from flora and frogs, and Pekorin catches a fowl, which relieves Carol. After devouring the large, tasty, meaty, swollen meal, anyone receives to sleep, but Kokoro is ingesting her tea. Glad to have started out a guild. On the subsequent morning, the organization wakes up at the camp, but suddenly Yukuri is kidnapped with the aid of a peculiar animal who throws him onto a tree. When he wakes up, he sees a talking tree trunk subsequent to him. Suddenly, a lady appears behind a tree and takes the small tree trunk from him. She introduces herself as AI, and famous she will talk to plant life and animals. Kokoro and the opposite ladies arrive as well and thank AI for saving Iwuki. After an extended adventure with some bumps, the institution makes it to the village, where they meet the chief of the village, Misato. As excited as they are about the imminent harvest. The institution isn't always the simplest guild to assist out with this harvest. It is discovered to be Rima's guild, and they may be on their manner to the village. Unfortunately, they see their doppelganger's status in the front of them, and that they each release the same attack on every different. Meanwhile, the institution is exploring the village, and they like it except for Carol, who's truly a city suddenly. They see a snoozing female floating within the air, after which falling to the floor. She introduces herself as Hatsune, and is excited to satisfy them. Just as Rima's group is handling the shadows, a third birthday party intervenes. From the dust, a female seems that says to be surely seeking out a few fun. She orders Rima to arise and fight her. Back to the village, Hatsune well-known shows that she has a sister in Rima's guild who is suffering from an ailment. She is excited as she will finally meet her after a few years. She is very susceptible, but Hatsune is worked up to provide her the brand new ebook she offered for her. In the aftermath of Christina's assault, Shiori has been separated from the other contributors of her guild. Unable to select herself back up, her doppelganger strategies her and disappears. We're then taken to Hatsune, who by some means meets Shiori and gives her the ebook she loves. It includes information approximately distinct animals and vegetation. However, she unexpectedly falls unwell. Just as she apologizes to Hatsune, she wakes up and finds out that it became a dream, and that she is captured by means of her doppelganger. The following day, the group gathers with the opposite adventurers, equipped to start choosing spices. Misato and Hatsune take a look up on them. However, Hatsune by accident exhibits that she has superpowers. Sudden Carol and the alternative individuals. Misato asks everybody to preserve it a secret. Suddenly, they listen a few screaming. They find Rima and her organization. They reveal how they had been attacked through matters that look much like them, and that Shiori remains missing. Hatsune gets concerned for her sister. She overhears the opposite humans talking approximately mysterious shadows who attack people inside the wooded area. Sune uses her superpowers to investigate Rima's mind. Meanwhile, Christina is sitting in the woodland and is busy killing the shadows together with her power. She wonders what the shadows are seeking to do in this global. Hatsune is determined to move into the woodland and locate her sister. Nisato tries to stop her, however Rima makes a decision to join her in locating Shiori as she is a member of her group. Yuki and his institution also decide to enroll in them in their look for Shiori. However, Carol is unwilling to enroll in them. On the way to the woods, Kokoro asks Rima about her health, which has gotten better because of her recuperation magic. As they enter the woodland, they sense a few kind of weird power. Hatsune flies to look into the woodland from above. But she is attacked by way of a person and falls to the floor. After getting up, she sees Shiori, whose frame changes color. She tries to assault Hatsune, but she counters her attack. As she disappears, the organization arrives and asks Hatsune about what just occurred. Meanwhile, Carol thinks about how her grasp need to be in the back of all of this. She is aware that if they are not stopped, the whole village could be destroyed. All of a sudden, the shadows attack the farm under command of Shiori. Picorine quick jumps to the villagers' protection. The organization sees this and gets faced by Christina. They get into a fierce war wherein Christina destroys the institution one after the other. Yuki receives knocked subconscious and returns to the astral plane. She tells him about Christina, whom she has met normally. She offers him his knightly powers back, inside the hopes that he can release an attack against Christina to assist his Paul. She reminds him of the times when they used to journey together. Meanwhile, Rima is about to lose the fight with Christina when Yuki wakes up and is ready to combat once more. For the primary time, he uses his godly powers, unexpected anyone. Rima additionally turns into a female and launches an attack on Christina. Everyone attacks Christina but fails to defeat her due to the fact she has eaten and swallowed too much white cream, making her too effective. Yuki launches a strike as nicely, however she kicks him in his belly, injuring him. She makes her manner to the forest at the same time as saying that they ought to go back to the village. Meanwhile, Pecorine is still combating with the shadows in the village. Carol ultimately uses her magic and destroys the shadows. While Shiori is distracted, Hatsune expenses towards her and enters her recognition. In her mind, Hatsune saves her sister from drowning, but Shiori is not inclined to move. Hatsune convinces her sooner or later, however a shadow appears in front of them. The two sisters paintings together and launch an effective arrow at the creature which weakens it. Carol chants a spell and sucks the shadow right into a big black hollow, even as Pecorine grants a final blow, destroying it for once and for all. Everyone rushes toward Shiori, who has grew to become back to normal. The following day, the group is eating rice whilst Kokoro describes the problems farmers face here because of animals that devour their vegetation. Corinne decides that their new quest is to assist the farmers remove the animals, for which they will be rewarded with rice. Kokoro and Yuki display their scarecrows, which they named Lady Amethyst. Carol accepts the quest, however she isn't satisfied as she needs an actual reward. Carol recalls her ultimate communication along with her leader, who desires her to look at Yuruki alongside Pecorine. They visit the guild, wherein they find a quest to help the three girls who have been too young to form an legitimate guild. They need a grasp to educate them the fundamentals of a guild. However, Karen informs them that this quest isn't always officially accredited, so that they cannot take it yet. They meet the three little girls outside the guild, wherein Misagi is crying and the other are looking to calm her down. They reassure them that they're severe and now not appearing like different kids. Yuki is satisfied to help and consents to be their master. At nighttime, Carol attempts to select a quest for the women, however she does not locate whatever appropriate for them. Meanwhile, Yuki is preparing treasures that they'll use of their quest. Carol and Kokoro introduce the quest to the ladies, in which they may have to discover a treasure hidden via them within the woods. With a map and a few tenting equipment, the women prompt with Yuki. Pecorine is certain that they may now not overlook the course and could attain the treasure easily. However, Yuki is terrible at studying maps, and they soon get lost the direction and input dangerous territory. They are abruptly attacked via small spiders. At first, they panic, but then they combat back and defeat them. Tokoro and the ladies secretly strive to show Yuki the right direction. However, this fool sandwich still leads them the incorrect way. Pecorine tries to influence them back with a monster costume she made, however they attack Pecorine and throw her off the hill. Carol and Kokoro retain to observe them, but the youngsters are faced with the aid of a fox. Yuki attempts to save them, however Carol makes use of her magic to cook him up. I wager all of us realize which part of his frame might be gobbled first. They get tired and decide to take some rest and consume their lunch. On the opposite hand, Carol and Kokoro get worn out after defeating many monsters inside the background. Pecorine all of a sudden arrives with the awful news that the ladies are moving in the direction of a monster fowl's nest, which is extremely dangerous. Suddenly they see a monster hen flying within the sky, with Yuki in its mouth. The little ladies try to rescue him, however they're attacked with the aid of the fowl and get defeated as properly. The monster chicken takes the subconscious ladies into its nest. Finally, Carol and Kikoru arrive and try and assist, but they may be worn out from all the work they have already accomplished. Perrine is not able to combat again due to the fact she cannot get out of her fit. Carol makes use of her magic, but gets exhausted after the usage of it, not able to keep combating. The monster hen tactics Pecorine and hits her. She ultimately gets out the gown and finds the woman's lunch, and with the aid of eating it, she powers up. She strikes the chicken and saves every person. As the girls sooner or later awaken, they see the now cooked-up chicken. The organization compliments them on completing their first quest and gives them a big egg as treasure. However, it hatches and hugs them. At the marketplace, there's an extended line of people with lottery tickets of their fingers. Kokoro is also waiting in line with 4 playing cards, and as success could have it, on the 4th try she wins a prize. When Carol returns home, she unearths out about Kokoro triumphing the lottery. Pecorine declares that they're going to the seaside to rejoice and spend their excursion there, the nighttime earlier than leaving for the seashore. Kokoro seeks Yuki's approval of her suit, as she has in no way worn one before. Yuki approves, and Kokoro indicates him an coaching ebook for swimming and stocks a swimming guide with him. They exercise on the mattress and the ground, excited for their new journey. The subsequent day they arrive on the beach and everybody may be very excited. Hecorin asks Carol to go swimming, but she is scared because she would not understand how. Corin comes to a decision to push her floaty, making her scared. Kokoro asks her why she's so lively nowadays, and it turns out that she gains her strength and power from the armor she constantly wears. But using it makes her hungry. Carol is amazed that she discovered her secret, but Pecorine embarrasses her by pronouncing that she considers them her buddies. Suddenly, they bump into Suzium. Suzium explains that she and Saren have set up a snack hut on the beach, and she or he invites all of them to come back and consume, no longer carrying her armor. Perrine orders all of the food on the menu, due to the fact she wants to hit a brand new PR for filling her mouth with even greater sausages and white cream. Run, run. Carol wonders why there are not some other clients, particularly given how exact the food. Unfortunately, there is a rival snack hut that attracts all of the eye of the customers. Saren tells them that the rival shack has a signature dish. At the rival hut, they meet Aquino, the president of the place. She needs Saren to paintings for her as a commercial enterprise companion. However, Saren declines her provide. The Gourmet Guild receives indignant and gives to help Saren create an iconic dish. Mafuya become taking part in her meal during rec time when Yukari arrived with some booze. Yukari is disappointed after seeing the adorable couples on the beach and begins ranting, which makes Mafuyu involved as it could harm the recognition in their hut. That's why she throws Yukari into the water. Kokoro and Iwuki search the area to look for elements. The different participants are also looking for components, and all of us brings exclusive objects. As they're deciding which dish they'll make, a gigantic squid assaults the seashore and puts the whole thing on hold. Mafuyu asks the group to save Yukari, who has been captured by way of the beast. Pecorine jumps into the water to try to store her. Carol facilitates Pecorine with the aid of using her magic to throw the squid on land. Saren makes use of her sword and throws a fireball at the beast, finishing it. Eventually, the group comes to a decision to sell grilled kraken, which facilitates Saren collect customers. Saren meets Akina and appreciates her for supplying partnership while her hut became in bad situation. Pecorine and Carol thank Kokoro for taking them to the seaside, wherein they enjoyed themselves and found out about many new dishes. Carol uses a spell on the opposite 3, through which they can enjoy peaceful swimming within the depths of the sea. In the morning, Yuki is schooling outdoor the house, Kokoro is doing the chores, and Pecorine is making breakfast. During breakfast, they discuss their holiday and the laugh they have had. Later, Yuki and Kokoro head to their preferred eating place. However, they arrive to find the proprietor frantically making pudding, as if he has been possessed. Just then, a fortune-teller named Shinobu arrives and apologizes for inflicting problem. It turns out the owner of the eating place is possessed by way of a ghost named Miyako, who's irritated at him for placing bugs in her pudding. To get lower back at him, she forces him to make her white cream. I suggest pudding each night. After seeing Yuki's strong senses, Shinobu then asks Yuki if he can come to their guild and help her, as he may also have the power they had been looking for. Yuki accepts, but once they come at the guild residence, they may be attacked with the aid of women who ask Shinobu why she took human beings internal their guild. They analyze that their help has had to revive an historic and powerful vampire. It seems the vampire named Ilya is imprisoned in a crystal coffin, and whilst she comes out, she becomes an infant and loses her magic. Ilya assures Kokoro that she won't hurt her lord, as his powers are the important thing to restoring her power. Ilya's minions begin attacking her, but as Iwuki tries to stop her, he by accident uses his powers and boosts Ilya's magic, restoring her to full power. The different ghost women are satisfied, as she will be able to now in the end be capable of take over the arena. However, Ilya Speedy reverts lower back to being a baby once more. They are about to go away whilst Miyako tells them that they spilled her pudding, and if she does no longer get more, she will be able to flip them into pudding and eat them. They take Miyako to their domestic in conjunction with Shinobu, scaring Carol, but Koro explains the whole lot. Now their venture is to make pudding for her. Pecorin is wandering within the market when she hears that the police has closed the theater. She meets Akachi and Charlie with the eating place proprietor. They inform her approximately how the boss was possessed by means of a ghost. All of a surprising, Charlie's mother slaps him. She has a store inside the market and Pecorin allows her with promoting fruits, because after all, she already has melons on her. When she returns domestic, everybody has been changed into tasty creamy pudding via Miyako. However, Pecorin makes a yummy pudding that Miyako truly loves. She gains heavenly electricity, turning everyone again to regular. Shinobu takes Miyako again, and the women start looking for Yuki in the house, who has disappeared. The following day, Carol is still drowsing in bed when Pecorin calls her for breakfast. However, she ignores Pecorin and keeps to sleep, forcing Pecorin to jump through the window. Carol scolds Pecorin for interfering in her private area as she destroyed her favorite toy, inflicting Pecorin to make an apology. Kokoro gives her stitching capabilities to repair it, but they are unable to find a material and decide to make a buying trip into city. Since the metropolis is massive, they decide to split as much as find the material faster. However, Yuki quick comes face to face with a shadow and attacks it. However, it's too sturdy. Suddenly, an angel seems and it slices the beast into. To Yuki's surprise, she claims to be his sister. Another girl appears that yells at her for revealing her secret identification. She takes the woman far from Yuki, who is nevertheless careworn that his sister is any such hottie. After cleansing her room, Carol heads to her queen to speak about the latest activities. She finds lovely vegetation at the manor, questioning they may galvanize her queen. She arrives at her vacation spot, but sees that her majesty is giving orders to the shadows, which flip the entirety into dying. Tokoro, Yuki, and Pecorin reunite. However, no person has discovered any material but Tokoro needs them to look one more time. But she and Yuki turn out to be devouring a few thick, tasty, meaty, creamy, haughty dogs due to the fact they're hungry. Kokoro leaves to find a few water when all of a sudden, Rino appears in the back of a tree and confronts her about her dating with her brother. Shizuru seems and apologizes to Kokoro, introducing themselves as Yuki's sisters. Just as they're talking, Yuki mysteriously disappears. They break up and start attempting to find him. Fikaro informs Pecorin approximately the state of affairs, but they listen about the disappearance of a boy from the town. They think he might be Yuki and cross into an old building, but the boy seems to be Charlie. Korin and Kokoro stop him from the maniacs that need to kill him. Meanwhile, Shizuru and Rhino combat with the shadows and defeat a lot of them. However, they do no longer locate any clues approximately Yuki. Porin arrives, and she or he suggests the concept of reporting his disappearance. They visit the guild, but locate Yuki there with a silkworm, which was a part of his quest. First, the ladies are happy with him for finishing a quest all alone. As Carol returns domestic, she thinks about the shadows. After spending time with her guild, she now not wants to retain her challenge. Everyone returns home and presents Carol along with her repaired doll. During breakfast, the group sits down to a tasty breakfast of fried eggs. As traditional, Carol is upset that their delicious searching breakfast does no longer consist of a few hard brown bread for some motive. She well-known shows that a powerful monster has settled down on the street, disrupting the go with the flow of several goods together with bread. She indicates them a completely hard and threatening quest to get rid of the monster, which they reluctantly receive. It seems they did no longer have lots to fear approximately as they catch it with experience twine, after which Pecorin hits it with a one-hit diminish. In the interim, a shadow appears in the metropolis and kills some farmers. The institution visits the guild to complete some paperwork. Yuki attempts to fill out the shape, but he forgets the info within the middle, so the women hole it. Porine meets Akachi and Charlie out of doors the guild, who thank her for completing the unsightly, disgusting, fats, dirty monster quest. They stop by using a crepe shop to consume some dessert. However, Shizuru and Rhino are taken aback after seeing Yuki and the women there. The proprietor arrives and serves the dessert to them totally free. At that night, Yuki has a dream in which he sees all of us. He knows Mendacity dead at the floor. His parent angel enters his dream and tells him that what he simply noticed may additionally simply be a reminiscence or a imaginative and prescient of the destiny. Yuki is traumatized after hearing this and makes a decision to boom his education. Because of this, Pecorin begins to educate him a way to use a sword. During lunch, Pecorin hears humans talking about the king's own family and the princess, which upsets her. Carol is feeding some stray cats when Akachi and Charlie appear, who shows to eat lunch collectively with Carol. Suddenly, a colossal shadow seems behind them, who reasons numerous trouble in the town. So, the shadow attempts to consume a vendor, but Pecorine involves the rescue and frees the person. She begins to combat with the beast, but Carol is reluctant to assist her. The shadow fees at her, but Pecorine saves Carol from certain loss of life. However, the monster grows more potent and fiercely attacks Pecorine. She takes on many tough blows before imparting to sacrifice herself. She survives, however, is significantly injured. Koro uses healing magic, which triggers Yuki's recollections. Yuki wakes up in what appears to be hell. Koro, on the other hand, is teleported to a palace and sees a portrait of Prine with a king and queen. Koro asks her about the portrait, and he or she apologizes to Koro for lying. She famous that she is in truth the princess of Landis, a salt, and that she have to be sitting at the throne. Many years in the past, her mother and father sent her off to go to the complete nation within the hopes that she will be able to mature and turn out to be a worth ruler. However, after coming back from her journey, she turned into forgotten by way of everybody, inclusive of her very own mother and father. Someone else had taken her place and her call. After that, she ran off and met Yuriki, Kokoro, and Carol. This is why she usually worried that they too could neglect her. Kokoro reassures her that she and Yuriki will always be by her aspect. Carol secretly hears their discussion and feels horrific for treating Pecorine as her enemy, while she continually took care of her and handled her as a pal. Meanwhile, Labyrinth assures Yuki that she isn't always his enemy but his best friend. She tells him approximately Ameth, who is making an attempt to help him by way of slowly restoring his reminiscences. It is revealed that he changed into defeated along his buddies by means of the faux princess, but one way or the other again to the beyond with his reminiscences wiped. She makes a decision to take Pecorine's facet to head towards Her Majesty. She assaults the shadow monster on her very own, suffering together with her function in Pecorine's scenario. However, Pecorine enters the struggle at the same time as Kokoro watches. Meanwhile, the Labyrinth's chief sends Yuki to the combat to help his pals. After Pecorine and Carol assault the masked shadow, Kokoro offers Yuki a stat improve, and he epically defeats the monster together with his sword. The group is then teleported returned to the eating place, a good deal to absolutely everyone's happiness.